Here, and I have these a whole list of questions for you on this sheet here. But first of all, thank you for joining today, and I had been looking forward to this conversation with you. This is Sharul, and welcome to the show. And today we have Shelle with us from Shefan Pro. Shelle is a founder and CEO of Shefan Pro. It's an organization that helps with blockchain infrastructure project management, and the mission is to promote women in blockchain. Yes, so Shelle, I'll let you introduce yourself and also the Shefan project. I think you can do the best
Oh,
with introducing your own child, the baby, on how it started.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me here. First of all,
It's a pleasure.
great honor. So thank you very much. And I think, the work that you're doing is really amazing. And so to be even a small part of that is a huge privilege for me. So thank you very much. You're always super supportive, and your passion is fabulous. So I'm Shelle Fantastic, and I'm the founder and CEO of Shefan Pro Group. We here are a UK incorporated and registered trademark, a fully rounded blockchain ecosystem with a strong passion for women's empowerment and supporting women through the journey into emerging technology, and just hopefully enabling fairness and equal opportunities. So as I said, we're a fully rounded blockchain ecosystem, and we have approximately 100 trusted partners globally. So we have a global reach, spanning over 25 countries now. We have access to over 40,000 developers. We have marketing teams. We have project management teams. We have access to investor pools, and we also, as I said, do coaching and mentoring for our community. Our community is growing very nicely, and we currently stand at around 140,000 across social media. And the idea is that we're built and sustained on trusted relationships.
Right, that's a really massive growth, Shelle, that has happened in the last few years. The research that I have done, I have found out that it was a one-woman army when it started. So yes, so if we can reflect on when the project was formed, and what was the initial motivation that you, as Shelle, saw that I can fill this gap, or this is what I see is it has to be addressed in the blockchain space?
Sure thing. So Shefan Pro was incorporated in the midst of the COVID pandemic during lockdown. I incorporated Shefan Pro back in 2020. Now it would have been 2020 in the lockdown, building my own website from the lounge. Formerly a tech phobe as well, by the way. 7-8 years ago, I couldn't even copy and paste. I'm not from a tech background, so that's I guess that's the interesting bit.
Yes, we would like to know more on that. What helped you? How did you end up creating your own website? And what was that particular journey like as well? When not coming from the tech background, how did you get yourself equipped with the skills that fast?
Yeah,
So
sure,
would love
sure.
to know.
Of course. I mean, it was about 7 years ago. I'll do a quick summary, but about 7 years ago, when I was a complete tech phobe, I heard about cryptocurrency. I decided, I thought I'd done enough research. I decided that I was going to go ahead and have a dabble. It, was incredibly difficult, very, very challenging for me. It took me hours to set up, something as simple as a wallet, and, a number of months later, I lost some money. That platform, ceased to exist for whatever reason, whether it was, bad actors or just unsustainable project or whatever, I don't know. And it wasn't about losing the money for me. It was about losing that sense of growth and that sense of liberty. I remember when I opened my first wallet, cryptocurrency wallet, it was incredibly challenging. I felt like there was smoke coming out of my ears. It was just, but the feeling that I got when I'd done it was so liberating, and I felt like a rocket scientist. It was,
Wow.
it was just amazing. And it was that, that I was grieving for, not the money that I'd lost. It wasn't much money, but it was It was that feeling. And I decided on that basis that, it's not the fault of cryptocurrency, it's the fault of maybe bad actors or unsustainable projects, but also a lack of education on my part. And maybe I needed to learn some more, and then I could make better decisions as I move forward. And that's where the journey began, essentially. So I educated myself. I became a business development manager for a blockchain training academy for about a year. And, it was in lockdown when I thought, I could do this myself. And I'd been approached by two organizations, one in Japan and one in Bangladesh. And they'd asked me to form some partnership. And, it was exciting. This was really a great honor. So, that's what prompted me then that weekend. I incorporated Shefan Pro. I needed a website. I was told that I would need a website. I didn't have one at that point. So I built my own website from the lounge. We've since migrated to a new server, and we've got a web developer now. That's fabulous. But it did the job. It did the job, and it was a starting block for us to build upon.
I'll go back to that point that you had mentioned, that then you have decided to take a role with a blockchain training organization. So not coming from the tech background and now transitioning to blockchain, how was that experience? So did you have to convince those organizations a lot that, right, these are the transferable skills that I bring to you?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, for me, really, I still don't consider myself as a tech expert at all, even though some of the certifications that I've achieved since leaving that position. I went on and certified as a blockchain expert, cryptocurrency expert, through the Blockchain Council, one of our wonderful partners, but also did an online degree as well, blockchain for business. But I still, don't consider myself an expert at all, but in tech particularly, I don't, code or anything, but I have expertise in human beings and
Wow, that's
communicating.
beautifully said, that I have expertise in human beings. I
Yeah,
loved it. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Well, my professional background was working within mental health for over 24 years for a huge organisation here in England, and and life skills as well. Really stand you in good stead. So I believe that, however wonderful the technology is, behind it sits a human being. And in order for that technology to prosper, surely we need to be able to communicate effectively with the human beings that are managing that technology, but also to assist with their well-being as well through that process, and I think if the people that are delivering on the technology are well maintained and well looked after, and we're able to communicate with them effectively, then only great things can happen. So I really pulled on those skills, I guess.
Right, Shelley, that's beautiful. I loved this human centric approach, and certainly the experience working in that space earlier. Um, so that's needed. That's needed in the future. The community driven Web3 and the community driven blockchain space. So I think the psychology, the EQ, and human aspect matters so much now.
I was really keen to work with women as well. The pandemic hit everybody really, really hard for many different reasons, but particularly women, who were having to pivot. They were maybe managing childcare or something, maybe they had a business, maybe they lost their job. And, I really wanted to, try and, create a platform or an environment where women could, come together and, support each other, really.
And so Shefan Pro is it facilitates project management, and it's also a fully rounded blockchain ecosystem. which is empowering women and also looking after the mental well-being. How is Shefan Pro supporting the fully rounded blockchain ecosystem?
The way that we work at Shefan Pro is that we're built and sustained on trusted relationships.
Okay.
I found, in the COVID pandemic, a time when we were so apart,
Yes.
and so separated and so isolated, that actually there was a great coming together, and it was the technology that assisted with that hugely, wasn't it? The Zooms and the Teams and all these other
Right.
platforms,
Yeah.
just went crazy.
Right.
Everybody was suddenly learning how to use this technology, because, without it, how could we keep in touch safely with our loved ones? How could we keep that human connection? And I found that, in the COVID pandemic, the one thing that we all had, the one thing that we all shared was that pain, that pain, that fear, that, that this thing, this disease or whatever, was trying to, threaten, you know, human beings and, the way that we live, our liberty, everything.
Yeah.
And so through that, I was keen to create a passion of an equal level, but for something that's for good, something for positive, and unite human beings together globally for good.
Right.
So Shefan Pro is built on that passion. It's built on trusted relationships globally, because it's essential. It's essential in business. It's essential in all industries. We have to look after each other.
Right.
We have to respect and value each other. And that's what we're here to do at Shefan Pro. So we're built and sustained on trusted relationships, but we also leverage that. So, we help our partners in terms of the marketing, in terms of plugins, in terms of being able to scale up. And we also, help our clients by directing them to trusted resources that can carry out the project that they are requiring to be done, I guess.
Said that it impacted a lot of us. It did impact me the same way. I'm a very human person. I'm an extrovert. I love connecting with and learning from people, and suddenly that stopped. And in 2 years' time, I found myself moving to that more introvert side of things, and as if like I have lost the my identity, or if I've lost my essence of my personality. This is how it felt. And now, once everything started opening up, I started going out there as much as I can go and interact with people as much as I go, and it helped each other, or add value to the world out there. So yes, we were impacted, and now I'm in a journey that I need to talk to as many people, have to add a lot of value there, have to learn from everyone, and to give love and emotions and the care and empower people I meet in the day-to-day basis. So on my individual level, I think I'm on the same journey as
Mm.
Shefan Pro, as a whole organization, as an ecosystem is, certainly. And I really believe that emotional EQ and community is more important than it was. Well, it was there, but now we have to encourage it more and more, and that's how we all can grow together and prosper. Now I would love to talk to you about being a it was Chief and Pro was a single woman project
Mm.
in 2019. So what was that journey like for you, and the whole process? I'm sure there have been challenges, there have been so many things that you had to overcome by yourself. So you had to cheer yourself up at times when there was no. Sometimes we cannot see the path clearly. So how did you handle and manage those challenges and have reached this milestone in the last 3 years? Would say 3 years
Yeah,
total.
coming up 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
This
and
story will be very inspiring for a lot of women who would like to be in leadership, or who have ideas for their own startup, I think. And even for me as well, I started this Web3 Passport podcast because I am a people's person. I like making a social impact. I like having a conversation and learning and developing and growing with people. So yes, so your story and this whole process, the last 3 years, will be valuable for me so much
oh,
to
thank you.
hear.
Yeah, it was just
Yes.
about, for me at first, it was a passion, a huge passion. I dreamt about it at night. I worked tirelessly. And the more I travelled down that path, the more I realised I needed to learn more and more. So every step was a learning journey, and I found myself researching more. I found, maybe discovered something and thought, my goodness, I really don't fully understand that. I need to learn about that. So maybe I did a course, or, I sat and researched for hours. I asked questions. It's about being, not being afraid to ask questions. And that's one thing that I realized in the beginning. A lot of people, women, people, I certainly did in the beginning. I was in some of these chats, these groups, with people that were very proficient, and that came from a tech background, and I didn't understand. And you feel stupid asking, what may be perceived as a simple question. So I found myself researching, in Google, type, what does this mean? What does that mean? And I discovered through even that's a pain point. People need an environment where they actually feel safe enough and confident enough to say, what is that? What does that mean?
Right.
Without feeling, ridiculous.
Yes, intimidated. That shall I be asking that question? Will I be? Will they judge me like, oh, I'm stupid or I don't know nothing about it? Yes, we get it. We certainly
Yeah,
get that. I get it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just about constantly, organically moving with it. So for me, it was about starting that journey. I always remember I incorporated Shefan Pro 1:30 in the morning. I'd gone to bed. I was in bed now. And I was laid in bed thinking, I was like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And being offered this partnership, this is a real opportunity. I was terrified. I was, what am I doing? How can I do this? Who am I? All these things that go through your mind. And because I'm the typical, maybe, individual that some people would say, oh, she can't do that. I was, in my 40s, a single mom, going through the menopause, coming from a health background.
Right.
I had everything, some people might say I had a lot of things stacked against me.
Yeah.
I saw it as I had all the more reason to push forward, because barriers are there to be overcome for me. We have to find a way around them or through them or over them or under them, whatever. Barriers are in here,
Yes.
So I just jumped in. I thought, if I don't do it, maybe I never will. I've got to do it. And I just went for it. And I continued in that same vein, just working forward, footstep at a time, and just growing naturally. And if I found an obstacle and I didn't understand it, or I wasn't sure, I went away and I learnt, or I asked a question or whatever. And I surrounded myself with amazing people. I mean, yes, I did start this journey alone, but soon after, my good friend Joanne, who's a real whiz, in cryptocurrency, she soon joined me. And without her, I have to give kudos and great endorsement to Joanne, because if it hadn't been for her, the journey, I'm sure, would have been much more difficult as well. And it's about, for me, the power of that human connection is just invaluable. And the thing that I'd observed as well when I first started out was many companies were very kind of precious, don't talk about your thing here, this is my thing, quite competitive and exclusive. And I thought, I don't like that.
Oh, yes.
I don't like
that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be inclusive.
Right.
I thought, there's great power in actually sharing capabilities and sharing resources, and co-mentoring each other and building a place where I don't know all the answers. But, the mark of great leadership is, and a great founder is surrounding yourself with people, that maybe know more than you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You don't have to know everything. What you have to know, for me, is how to create that environment, where it can actually grow. No need to do everything single-handedly. but it's about cultivating and creating that environment, for other human beings to grow themselves, but also to come together and prosper collectively through sharing capabilities, co-mentoring, and really pulling together in a joint effort. And that's for me where the magic lies.
Right. Beautiful, Shelley. Very inspiring. Very, very inspiring. And I think we need that approach now. We have to see this approach more and more, because yes, because it brings a lot of positivity. It brings a lot of encouragement that I think every human being seeks now. And we have learned a lot from COVID times. So this is the approach we need to take going forward. Competitive edge is okay for, yes, it's fine too. But I think my weightage would be more on supporting, and let's grow with each other and just let's support each other. It's not always about a lot of revenue. It's not always about a lot of I say monetary side or competitive side, I would say, but yes, but more bringing more of this, the element that you've spoken about. Truly, truly,
absolutely. I mean,
and that's when I feel being supported. That's how I feel like I belong. That's how I feel that I have people, I have a family around me that can look after me, or I'm open to ask the most stupid questions I need, because then they are no longer stupid questions because it's been asked. That's what Jordan Peterson says.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
And the thing is, people say to me, do you have a mentor? And mentors are great. Mentors are very, very, very important. Everybody should have a mentor. I'm very blessed. I've got many, many, many mentors because I've surrounded myself with them. Good, trusted relationships, our partners, that I know I can go and ask if I need any guidance, and they're there just as I am for them. I mentor, I coach as well. But going back to what you said there, it's so important. It's about cross-pollination. Yes, some competitive edge is important, because it causes you to grow, and it repels stagnation, to mean. But it's about, for me, cross-pollination, inclusivity, sharing capabilities, the coming together. And I know one thing for sure: people will always remember how you left them feeling every single time over what you did for them, every single time. And if you can nurture and build those good relationships and treat people well, and and let them feel understood, and and heard and respected and valued, and all these other things, these good ethics, morals, then that becomes a marketing campaign all by itself. It's quite simple. Look after people, because then they're going to look after you right back. And that has to be the most important thing.
Certainly, Shelley, certainly. And I would also like to touch upon on the partnership. So when you had initiated the project, and now you have the strong belief in the project. Now, so in the last 3 years, as you have mentioned earlier in the conversation, that there are several partnerships, there's a huge resource pool that Shefan Pro has. So what helped you when it comes to building those partnerships? What effort did it take? Because it's a fantastic growth in the last 3 years. It's a fantastic journey when I see the project now and when it started.
Thank you. Yeah. For me, again, it comes back to that human connection.
Right.
Whether a person's a CEO or a domestic cleaning person, or a doctor, or whether they're a shop account worker, shop at the counter there at the grocery store, whatever. We're all human beings, and all these things are titles. And yes, everybody requires respect.
Yes.
And for me, many people, I think, can be intimidated by a title or a status symbol. And for me, I know that if I speak to somebody with respect and decency, that I can speak to anybody.
Yes.
Just as anybody could speak to me. That's how I define people, not on job titles or where you live or anything like that. For me, It's about how you treat people. It's about your moral compass. It's about, how respectful you are to your fellow human. And that gives that I will have the ultimate respect for that always.
Beautiful.
So for me, it's about, I reached out to people, I researched companies. If I was, interested in that company, if I liked their, what they were doing, if I liked, their work ethic and everything else, I would, research, who is, the founder of that company, who is the CEO, and then I would go right out and reach out to them directly. But not, I think it's not good to hop into somebody's inbox with trying to sell something. It's about connecting with people. It's about building that relationship. So many people said to me in the beginning, I was on calls with people and they'd say, okay, so how can I help you? And I'd say, well, actually, there's nothing I want, at this stage. It's just, I'm just trying to build a relationship with you. It's not about, going straight in there,
Right.
and some people, you can't always identify, synergies straight away. Sometimes it's just about having that relationship and, being available to them, should they need you, but also maybe you might need them one day as well. It's about the relationships. It's not about the gains, and it's not about building relationships to try and gain, monetary anything. It's about just building relationships and learning from because these people, these people, these founders, these CEOs, they've got there, through, expertise, through experience, through learning, through all these things. And so, if you, can learn from that, you can learn so much from that.
Definitely. And it completely resonates with what you have just said, that it's not always about some selling point. It's also about building relationship. But recently I came up with this scenario. That's the first time that I reached out to someone who works in the diversity sector, and in regards to having a podcast. And I was being asked a question that, what do you have to offer us? I'm like, okay, what benefit do you offer? So I mentioned that because it's a podcast, it's a conversation on to bring that message out to the world, that how diversity or neurodiversity is important in business space. So that's what I'm offering, a platform where people, through that platform, I can share those value points to people who listen. So that's my USP right now. And but this person wasn't really convinced on that, and he was still the person was still looking for some benefits. So I kind of understood that it could be a selling aspect. I really didn't know, because it was the first scenario I encountered, that how should I address it, or if there are future similar questions being put on me, because I really want to take this podcast to another level, because I love it. I'm passionate about it. So how would you address that? Have you ever had these scenarios,
Sure.
encountered them?
Yeah, no, sure thing. And, I would say you can't win them all. Sometimes it's not something that you're doing, or maybe sometimes you don't need to do anything differently. You're not going to, not everybody is going to fully understand or maybe need, or even see the value or benefits in what you're providing. And it's about, and that's a big learning journey. That's a big learning point. It's about accepting that. Sometimes, there are things that you can do that, that are different, and maybe, you can tweak, what you say or how you present it, to make it more understandable or relatable or whatever. But, sometimes, whatever you do, that one person or that few people, it's not going to be for them. Maybe it's just not the right time. Maybe they'll hop back in your inbox, a number of months or years later. You just never know. All you can do is know that you've done the best from your side, and not everybody's going to accept, your offering, and that's okay. And that doesn't necessarily reflect on you in a bad way. It just means that it's just not right. It's just not meant to be at that time. And that's okay. Yes, I've experienced that too. And it can make you feel a little bit wobbly, because you think, oh, I've not had this before, what's wrong with my offering? What could I do differently? And sometimes there's nothing that you can do differently. Sometimes you have to remember all the people that have accepted that offering, very, very, humbly and very readily, and offset that against maybe the one or two that perhaps have just politely declined and said, actually, no, it's not for me at this time, and be okay with that.
Sure. I have learned how to accept no, but I was like curious with, okay, Cheryl, so you have to come up with an offering. There must be some benefits. So what should I do to reach that stage? So that's another discovery level that that conversation got me into. Right. But
Yeah,
thank
and
you
it's
for
about
sharing your thought.
it's
Yeah.
about knowing when as well. It's about gauging
Mhm.
that relationship and knowing when is the right time,
Yeah.
to initiate that conversation. Some people, it might be straight away. Other people might need to build that relationship, and they might need to build some trust in you more before, because some people can be skeptical as well. Some people can be skeptical and think, oh, this might sound great, but I'm sure there's a catch, or this might sound great, but some people can be skeptical. We've all got so many different layers,
Right.
and we're all at different journeys and different points in
Yes.
that journey in our life and our spiritual life as well, because I'm a very spiritual person.
Beautiful.
And I'm also Reiki master as well, so I believe that sometimes if a door closes, perhaps it's the right thing at that time, and
Right.
we have to understand that.
Absolutely, Shali. I think that's what we both share in common, the spiritual aspect and the Reiki. I had an experience in Reiki as well, but I firmly believe in it. When I look back in time in my life, that time things might have been hard or challenging, or maybe they didn't seem right, but now they do. They, as if like this journey was meant to be there, and people who came in the life, they were meant to be there.
Yeah.
Certainly, universe takes us through that journey in an exciting ways. Right,
Oh, it
beautiful.
does. I mean, how many times you must have had times where, you got rejected for something and you were so upset and so disappointed, and you just couldn't understand why, because everything was there in place, and why, did it happen?
Yeah.
And then, later down the line, 6 months, maybe a year, even more,
Yes.
something better comes along, and now you're grateful. Now you're thankful that you
Right.
got rejected at that point
Sure.
way back then, because
Yeah.
it's like, well, I now understand why, because that would have taken me down a different route, and
Right.
maybe this is where I needed to be.
Certainly, Shelley, can't deny it. It has happened in the last 10 years and more of my own life. The new opportunity never comes that easy, but it has prepared me. That whole time zone has prepared me mentally, and have put more strength in my own character to address the challenges. The next question I would have is to talk about the woman. So the project is Shefan Pro is making a big impact for women in blockchain space. So what impact have you seen in the last 3 years have been created? So just a few examples if you would like to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, it's about creating, like I said, a safe space for women to be able to, develop through emerging tech, and to create and promote their own independence. But it's also for the women that are already in the space to, receive the acknowledgement and so on that they rightly deserve. And it's about creating that environment for them to come together. So this year we are going to be having our first face-to-face conferences, if you like, with a little bit of something different. We're quite unique. I want to create something that's really comfortable and inviting, something that's got tangible outcomes. So I think myself and 8 other founders, female founders, have come together. I made the introductions. We've all come together and we formed a group called Empowered Women Collective. And I decided that, we've got such strong women in our community, such amazing women, and, it made great sense for us to come together and create something that complements each other, but that also creates an offering collectively to the wider public, so that there's something there for everybody through each and every single one of us. So, a member of the community or public might decide just to, come and utilise one of the founders or co-founders offerings, or they might need all of them, and to create an environment, really, that's in person, that's welcoming and inviting, and has tangible outcomes as well, at the end of it. We're also supporting the women in Bangladesh at the moment as well, through selling some of their really, really beautiful handmade, eco-friendly garments, and could be handbags, laptop bags, all these jewelry, absolutely beautiful hand-stitched, beautiful garments, and they're trying to break into the international market. So we've said that we're going to help them. We're going to be showcasing that, well, we already do on the website, but we've just received some goods, and we're going to be advertising and selling those at those conferences as well, so that the ladies can take away something special. And all the and all the profits will go back over to Bangladesh, and will support the women to grow and develop further, and to learn to code as well, thus creating independence and reducing childhood marriages. So we've said that we're going to help. We're a tiny drop in a great ocean, but every great oak tree starts with a tiny seed, doesn't it? Right? And I'm sure as heck going to try. I believe in it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's good for our community that they get to purchase something that's unique. There isn't another one like it out there in the world, because they're all hand stitched, and they're beautiful. I mean, I've bought a couple of pieces myself, and tried and tested them, had them through the washing machine and everything, because that's always a big test, isn't it? And they've been fine. So on that basis, I'm fully behind it and happy to support. And if we can even make a little bit of a difference, then that's great. I'm in some talks with some retail outlets, and I'm hoping that they will share that passion and that vision, and maybe even support us in that way, and let us house some of those goods in some of those outlets. But we're in talks about that at the moment, so that's all I can say.
Yes, that's incredible as well. So giving back to the community is so important, and especially it matters a lot to women in the developing nations. Blockchain, say an organization needs a blockchain developer, so they can reach out to Shefan Pro. Someone in the team can help to help find that right resource. Am I correct in my understanding, or I would like you to help us understand a bit on the other side of the services as well?
Yeah, sure thing. So, we also have access to certified education as well through, unit masters, through the Blockchain Council. So just going back to the women's side, we can signpost the women there to trusted entities, that they can navigate through. They might want to go to the education side. They might want to then set up their own company, in which case, we've got all the coaching there, and and the mentoring. We've got the access to the, the developers, the marketing teams. We also do marketing ourselves at Shefan Pro. We've got access to the investor pools as well, or they might want to do the certified education, and then they might be looking for a job. So we're building out a recruitment arm at the moment as well. So it might be that, so we help in that journey, and coach and mentor along the way, helping out with anxiety management, confidence building, all these things, and practical tips that I've learned through my own experience as well, that I share with my clients, if you like. Now, jumping forward again to just address the question that you just asked there, the inner workings of Shefan Pro, you're absolutely right. At the moment, the public can look at our website. They can book a 30-minute or an hour's call with myself. They get straight direct to me. I will find out and establish exactly what their requirements are, in terms of geographical locations, skill mix, what it is that they're trying to create or do, budget, all of that. I will then go and look at our database of trusted partners. I will match and make a bespoke match. I will then set up a further call between the team, the partner, whether that's a marketing team, a developer team, whatever team it is that the client is needing, and the client and myself. So we'll have a 3-way call, and we'll scope the project out, and then we move forward from there. We also, as well, so there's that offering that we do. So a client can come to us and we can undertake that work through making bespoke matches. That saves them time, money and resources, because it's a minefield out there. It's time consuming going around each individual company. So coming to us, we kind of cut that bit out. We are building out the software to make it more automated as we move forward, because we've grown so much now that we really need the software now to help us out a little bit here. But we also help our partners. So we market and promote our partners for free. That's against a community of over 140,000. We invite them onto our show as a guest speaker, creating a live business card that can really showcase and enlighten the general public as to what their company does. Because I believe that, if we lift others, our partners, then by default we're naturally going to go as well. That's what it's about. Reversing. It's about the reverse psychology of it all for me. So we have a lot to offer. We give a lot of time and resources for free, because we know that if we raise others up, then by default we're gonna rise as well. So that's what we do. We showcase our partners' logo on the website. It's all for free. We make public announcements. We actively, signpost clients to them as well. But also, we conduct free searches. And searches can be, several thousands of pounds. We conduct free searches. We only leverage if an introduction triggers a paid piece of work, in which case then we leverage at that point. And I think that's a fair and reasonable. But equally, if our partners, for example, we've got a development team, and maybe they have a client that's looking for marketing as well, rather than lose that client and that client goes off and finds somebody else for the marketing, but maybe now they're not going to come back because maybe this company can do everything for them. If they tap into our services, we can find the marketing team. We can make that introduction. They can plug into that marketing team's resources, retain that client from start to end, giving the client a better experience because they're staying with somebody that they know and trust. Through that process, we're generating leads for that marketing partner that they might not have ordinarily got, and and so on and so forth. So there's so many different ways. But also, if our partners refer somebody to us, maybe they've got a client that's looking for a marketing team, but they don't want to do that. That they haven't got the time maybe to do that. The resource. But if that partner refers that person into us, and we capture that client, then we will pay that blockchain development company a percentage of that invoice as a thank you in the same manner. So it's reciprocal. It's a two-way street.
Interesting. I think that this example and scenario that you have explained will help a lot of people who will be listening to our podcast to understand the whole business model and the key functioning and how it works when it comes to providing value to each other. That's fantastic, Shelle. And so it's now talking about the next milestones, 2023 milestones. So you have mentioned about that Shefan Pro is now working towards creating a new recruiting wing as well. So what would you say is the next short-term goals are?
Yeah, so we've built out, just about finished building out the websites again. I'm constantly changing the websites because you've got to move with it. What I found is, you've got to keep moving.
We are learning. We always are discovering to be changing because we are knowing more about our work and.
Yeah, you've got to be responsive, and to what's out there, and you've got to keep constantly evolving. That's what I found. For me, it's no good.
And that's great. Continuously evolving is that it's so necessary. That means we are putting efforts in it. We are being curious.
Listen to the people that you talk to. You've got to know that they've been heard, and, if enough people, have said, I'm looking for a job. I ended up with so many CVs in my inbox, people looking for a job. And I thought, I can't possibly, manually, do all this and everything else. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. But these people were looking for jobs. And I know that there's companies out there that are looking for strong, recruits. So I thought, we need something. There's a pain point here. We need something. And so we're building out the recruitment side as as we speak. So that's on the list for this year. Want to build that out so that people can share their CVs. Our partners can go in there, and look, for an appropriate candidate. Maybe if they've got a vacancy or opening, whatever. And somewhere that, and again, facilitating a space. That's what it's about. It's about facilitating that space, that environment for these introductions to be made. And so that's one of the things that we're doing. We're also building out the software side of the websites as well, because we need it to be more automated. As we're growing, it's just going to be impossible to conduct services without deploying some kind of software. So we're working on that at the moment. And as we're doing that, we're building out the in-person events and
Conferences.
just getting out there and meeting people face to face more and more.
Right. And Ari, do you have any plans to come to Ireland for a conference? I'm happy to
Oh,
organize it and be a part of the organizing team.
oh
Certainly.
yes,
I love conferences, the great opportunity to meet
they
many
are.
people and then build that relationship, that connection. And there's always something new comes out of the conferences, which, I always say to people that you have to keep building connections because you never know that one particular idea you hear can change the world for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would love to come over to Ireland. That's a certainty, and we can definitely have a conversation about that and see, what we can do, because I mean, we've got some conferences booked in November. I think it's 15, 16, 17 in London.
Okay.
And there we're going to be having a multitude of different sort of presentations, if you like, relating to Shefan Pro, relating to some of our partners are going to be there as well, working very closely with us. So it's going to be a joint thing. So the Empowered Women Collective will be there as well. And we're going to be rolling those out over in the States and India and Africa as well, maybe the year after. So, there's a heck of a lot of work to do. There's not quite a lot. There's lots and lots of work to do. I'm not flowering it up. It's hard work. There are times where you wonder why you're doing it. There are times where you feel despondent or overfaced, or, there are times where, as much as you love it, there are times where you'd much rather, have an extra hour in bed or, something else.
Yes, so true. So true. I'm feeling it exactly the same.
Yeah. And I think you've just got to do what you have to do. And on those times where you feel like you need that rest, just think, you know what, I'm going to allocate, a segment of time that's just for me. And whether that's going for a walk, whether that's, having a massage or, whatever it is, reading a book or whatever, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask, a team or a colleague or a partner or a confidant, if they can support you. If you feel that you're at the point where you're hitting maybe a little bit of burnout, you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, a little bit like, oh, I just can't face it. We all have those times. For me, maybe that's a sign that you've been doing a little bit too much. Maybe just drop back a little bit, focus on the priorities, the essential bits, and try and just build in some more time for you, to offset that work. Even though we love it and we're passionate about it, there's nothing wrong in admitting that actually sometimes it feels too much, sometimes it feels overwhelming, sometimes it feels terrifying, sometimes you question why are you doing it, and that's normal. And I think we can love something 1,000,000%, but there are always going to be it's a relationship. When you're a founder, you have a relationship with your business. It becomes almost your baby, and you have that relationship. You love it, you're passionate, you build it, you nurture it, you grow it. And there's sometimes where you just think, no, not today. It's overwhelming me. And I think it's no failing to admit that. The failing comes if you ignore that and continue and burn yourself out, and then your productivity reduces and everything else.
Immunity reduces.
Everything. I think if you
Right.
acknowledge that, and there's great strength in acknowledging that, and just saying, you know, I'm human. I have been working around the clock. As much as I love it, I have been doing so many hours. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe, you know, what I need to do is, you know, take myself for a nice walk, or maybe get an early night in the bed, or do something nice for me to offset that. You know, and what I found is then when you do come back to it, you know, the next day or the next hour, whatever, you come back fresher, and the creativity starts, you know, because a lot of
Better, a
people
lot
say that,
better. Yeah.
a lot of people say that, you know, the creativity, they struggle with creativity, they're not getting anything coming through. And I just say at that point, that's maybe some exhaustion there. Step back, take yourself, blend with nature, have a bath soak, whatever it is that you like to do something for you. And then all of a sudden, that creativity will reignite. You'll be like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of
Yeah.
that before? You know,
Right.
and it's there.
Sure, definitely, Shelley. Wow, this has been a wonderful conversation. So, in this conversation, people who are going to be listening to our podcast will get a lot of life lessons, and someone who is listening here who wants to who have an idea for their own startup will also get that motivation and upliftment. That okay, so I need to start taking steps. I need to start building networks. I just need to go and initiate that conversation. So, I'd say that this conversation is incredible in the aspect that we have discussed Shefan project in an use case and its whole journey till from 2019 to 2023. And while it doesn't come as that easy, but with a lot of hardships, challenges, and overcoming those, and that's where we reach the success and a lot of life lessons and experiences that you have shared that people must know. And again, also to remind all of us that community, as you've mentioned, the human-centric approach that we have to take, and every day we must remind ourselves to bring those elements in our integral personality. And
No, the thing is, you know, I don't have all the answers, and I don't think anybody has
yeah,
all the answers.
right,
But what I'm here to do is share my story
yeah,
and hopefully inspire others
right,
out there that, you know, you can do it. You know, so many women will say to me, I'm too old. If I was younger, I would try. And
yeah,
I say, but you still got a heartbeat, you're still here. No,
right,
we have to live. You know, you're never too old, you know, and people will say, oh, I can't do it. Maybe I'm a single mom, or maybe, you know, whatever. And I just say, look, you know, if I'm hoping that through showcasing my journey, you know, it will inspire others and encourage them to think, you know, if you've got any doubts and you want to do something, then, you know, do it. You know, I'm always here to support if needed. You know, just reach out to me. You know, and, you know, if I can help in any way, you know, I absolutely will. But for me, it was about just having the courage in that moment and just thinking, I'm going to start. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I mean, Shefan Pro just grew organically, like a river, you know, a raindrop
right,
at the top of a mountain, and
beautiful,
it, before you know it, at the bottom it cascades into a beautiful waterfall. It just
beautiful,
grew organically, and I just kind of nurtured it and supported it on its way, really.
right,
But I don't regret it, and
growing,
I'll tell you what, I'm glad I did it as well, because I've learned so much. I've grown in myself. I've met some absolutely amazing people. My life
yeah,
feels so much richer, and it's not about the money. It's about the
definitely,
experience. I feel
yes,
so much richer as a
yeah.
woman and as a human, and as a mom, um, and I'm thankful for that journey.
Right. Oh my God, that's beautiful, beautiful, Shelley. And I am in my 30s right now, but I think I am a younger version of you. I
Okay.
shall I say that? I'm
Yes,
still
you
in
can
that time,
absolutely say that.
and
Yeah.
I have the same feelings and same almost similar experience to what you have mentioned. And yeah, so I can completely resonate with your life and your experiences. Um,
Sometimes you just have
Very,
to go
very
for it.
well.
Sometimes
Yes.
you just have to go for it, because, you know, I figured
Yeah.
I'd been sat on the fence for so long,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
just thought, you know what?
Mm,
And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm sharing my experience, but
right.
for me, it was about, I've just got to do it. And that's when I
Yeah.
incorporated the company. I thought, I either do it or I don't. And if I
Yeah.
don't, maybe in 10, 20, 30 years' time, I'll look back and wish that I had. And if it fails, then at
Mm,
least I can say I tried.
Yes, at least I tried. I tried and built a lot of great connections on this
Yeah,
journey. And yeah, it's not always about selling. It's about how beautiful we make this life with a lot of people we interact with and a lot of people we bring in our life and grow with them.
yeah,
And keeping that growth mindset alive
yeah,
always. Yes,
yeah,
beautiful. This has been an incredible conversation and it's going to motivate and uplift a lot of people who are listening to and also women. So I would say like women who are interested in tech and want to grow and develop in blockchain must reach out to Shefan Pro, and Shelle is there to help you direct to the best way,
yeah.
best route going forward. So Shelle, it was great to have you on the show today. Thank you for sharing your wonderful life story with us, and it's definitely going to inspire a lot of people who are listening to our podcast, and especially women should reach out to you and get inspired from you on from your own journey, and should reach out to you if they need any I need coaching and mentoring to get into the tech and the blockchain space. So Shelle, thank you for being here,
You're very
and
welcome.
it was so incredible to listen to your story.
You're
Loved
very
it.
welcome. Thank you
Loved
for
it.
having me.
Thank you. And have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you.